The sport of boxing is it's pretty much two warriors getting into the ring and exchanging blows, defensive, offensive, head movement. It's a pretty good all-round sport.
Ayudando a la cura, ayudando a Iva.
I've always had a passion for boxing ever since I was a little boy. Being a wheelchair user, watching boxing all the time on TV, you know, it always wanted to be something I did. Never thought the opportunity would happen. And then I got in touch with the ABO when I was about 16, 17, might have even been a little bit older. Got in touch and the journey started since then. And I've loved every minute, won't ever look back. You know, to actually be in the position we're in and be told years after years, you know, you can't do this, you can't do that. Well, now we can, you know, and it's magnificent.
Jason down. You've got to move the chair, man. The chair. You've got to move it back up.
I loved boxing, enjoyed every minute of it. Competing, when I retired, you know, you think you can walk away from boxing, you can't. You have to have a bit of time out. Then I found myself back in the gym, helping kids in my amateur gym. Walked back in there. When I walked back in the gym, it was like a weight being lifted off my shoulders. That was what was missing. I then understood that I couldn't walk away from boxing.
So we've got 3 grades at the moment, which means that you've got the first grade, second grade and third grade. People will need to do a 9-week course, which means that they will have to do that first, second and third grade to state whether or not they can get into the ring. They will also have to, by law, have that medical intervention because, you know, you're talking about cerebral palsy and Down syndrome, etc., that have to be there.
To be honest, at the beginning, it's like, you know, when you first start able-body boxing, you know, you do start off sort of worse for wear. You don't really know what you're doing. But the more you do it, the more you have time to adapt to your own needs. You know, certain boxers, they use the chairs completely differently. For myself, I tend to use my elbows because of how close down to the wheels I am. That way, I can still keep guard at the same time.
Well, I first started, I'd done a bit of boxing when I was in the army, and obviously that was me standing up before I got injured. So once I got injured, I couldn't really put the boxing gloves on because I didn't know if there was any opportunities for me to do so. As soon as I found out that I could with this wheelchair boxing, I was straight on it, straight down the gym, cracking on.
We helped the military. We had a couple of guys come to my show, told me that they box in wheelchairs, and I said I want to see them. Can they come along? They came along. They got in the ring, and they kind of basically had a full-on fight. And afterwards, I went to see him, have a conversation with him, talking to him, and everything that boxing means to me, it meant the same to these guys in the wheelchairs. So you try and tell them that they can't fight, they can't train.
Abilities I have, I'm quite quick and quite nimble. When once I get a rad, I can get in, I can get out. So I hope I can improve on that. And then obviously with speed comes power, and power comes victory. Well, I've not once gone into the ring expecting to hurt my opponent. Obviously, at the level I'm at the minute, it's completely, I'm not going in there to hurt anybody. So when people call it the hurt business, until they've actually laced on some gloves and done all the training, got into the ring in front of their opponent, then they don't really know what they're talking about.
Middleton, who's in the blue chair, and Wayne Cox, both part of the ABO Adaptive Boxing Organisation. So once we've done this, then we'll get into how we do it, what questions, etc, etc. But enjoy the little bit of wheelchair boxing.
Well, it's definitely something else for the guys in the wheelchairs, because obviously when you drop your guard to move your chair, you're probably going to get a jab or a straight coming at you. So you've got to be able to know when to move, when to come in, when to not. So it's definitely more of an art and a dance than it is getting in there and punching each other's heads out.
And I felt very strongly that they shouldn't be taking full punches. One of them was severely disabled. The other guy was injured in battle in Afghanistan, lost both his legs. And I said to him that what I would like to see was an exhibition of flashiness, using the wheelchairs, using the punches to be a full array of punches, but using more defense style, head movement, and not really going out there to hurt the other person.
So really with what we see is that basically both WBC can actually help us to create a wonderful platform towards that which is professionalism. So at the moment the safety aspect has to be with head guards as well as classifications, but also suitable chairs that can actually help these guys to compete in a controlled manner, along with rules and regulations that will be changed to help improve not only amateur but also for a future at a later date for professionalism.
Our way of doing it is closest to the able-bodied version. You know, the movement around the ring, You know, the safety implements, you know, we're not barbaric in the sense of just sticking 2 wheelchairs in the middle and saying, you know, just go at it. It's not about that, because at the end of the day, they are in wheelchairs, they have got disabilities, and we don't want to increase someone's chance of disability. You know, we want them to enjoy it.
Jab him away.
And the problem is that we have to be very precise in this, as well as classifications, rules, etc., etc. But also a medical that actually helps us to equal match those guys and not give a insufficient way forward for these guys to get injured.
We work on classifications, so like similar to basketball and rugby in the Paralympic organisation, where you've got your different levels of disability, you get put into a different classification. But then it will also go on your level of ability, whether you've got good core, whether you haven't, spinal injuries, amputee, all based on that. But then obviously added to that is the weight category as well. So there is a lot to look at and a lot to deal with, but I reckon we've got it sussed out.
Dan, you just got to follow me around and I'll try to follow you. 1, 2. Right, so, ready? That's it, straight through. Straight down. Right down. That's it. Straight back. That's it. Straight through. Roll. That's it. Straight back. Now roll back. Straight through. That's it. Jab in the movement. Jab. That's it.
But we want to see you, and we want to see you in the wheelchairs. We want to see you showing an exhibition of boxing. We want you to be part of us and to feel exactly what we feel. And they were over the moon with that, and I told them that we could possibly help them. They're looking to get in the Paralympics, and that's what we said we'll talk and try and do. So we're just in the middle of sorting that now.
I expect other people from different circumstances, if they're in wheelchairs from certain disabilities or if they're injured guys, just getting into the gym, lacing up some gloves and giving them that freedom and that can-do spirit again.
So the best thing in life is that we have this, which is called inclusion of community. Inclusion of community is there to help us, to guide us for those guys to be there. And don't forget, there's a lot of disabled out there that actually love the word boxing and would love to have an open door, but because there isn't nothing there, then we've got the opportunity of a lifetime to actually bring something which a lot of people are disrespecting with the word disability, and that's actually shown that if these guys are given a proper platform, we can achieve anything.
Well, that's another reason why we do it. You know, we do it not only for our own doing. Obviously, it is a lot to do with our own mentality and our own wanting to do it. We love it. But to hear people's views and to change their minds on it and to see the smile on their face while we're doing what we do, you know, that escape from reality, you know, years and years of life being stared at or being deemed unnecessary or unordinary. While we're in that ring, all eyes are on us, you know, and you can't get any better than that.